The next game on the WonderSwan to primarily focus on giant robots colliding with other giant robots is SD Gundam Emotional Jam. It was developed by Tom Create, published by Bandai, and released on May 27, 1999. Unlike Super Robot Taisen Compact, which was a crossover between many mecha series, Emotional Jam pulls all of its characters from various series of the Gundam franchise. The SD stands for Super Deformed, and is itself a spin-off classification for media containing cuter Gundam mechs with a large head and a tiny body. SD Gundam started in June of 1985, when Bandai released a line of Gundam collectible Gachapon capsule toys, but had to adapt the design of their existing mechs in order to fit within physical and budgetary constraints. The SD Gundam franchise also encompasses various sub-series based on historical events, but Emotional Jam is a plain old mobile suit SD Gundam game. The first SD Gundam video game was SD Gundam Gachapon Senshi Scramble Wars for the Famicom Disk System, and is widely regarded as a classic strategy game for the system. Most SD Gundam related titles have stuck to that genre, and Emotional Jam is no exception. It's along the lines of what you'd expect from Advance Wars of the Nectaris series, except the units you build back at base are super deformed variants of mechs from an alphabet soup of 16 different Gundam series. Emotional Jam is a mishmash of elements from 3 games and an original story. Take Scramble Wars, swap out its battle system for the one from SD Gundam G Generation, slap in some assets from SD Gundam G Next, write a new story, and you wind up with Emotional Jam. If the developer of the game, Tom Create, isn't a household name, that's perfectly normal. The company was founded in 1989 and has primarily developed games for Bandai-owned franchises ever since. Most of these games never saw the light of day outside of Japan. About half the games they've put out have been SD Gundam related, but more recently they've been self-publishing games on digital platforms such as the 3DS eShop as well. I'll be honest, as someone who doesn't know much about the Gundam universe, I have no idea what the story is or what's going on. The game's timeline and events are based on the Universal Century timeline between plain old Gundam and Victory Gundam, so from UC-79 to UC-153, with a handful of non-UC Gundam series being folded into the game for fun. This adds up to a total of 30 missions, comparable in count to a full single path of Fire Emblem Fates. Aside from the game's scenario mode, there's a versus mode where you can play against a CPU or human opponent via a link cable. By default, this uses the units you've gotten through scenario mode, but to allow for fair competition between players at different points in the story, Emotional Jam does allow you to play it versus games on a level playing field. My primary complaint with this game is its battle system. In Super Robot Taisen Compact, every mission took place on a single map, and attacking an enemy would trigger a battle animation and then take you back to that map. In Emotional Jam, engaging in combat with an enemy unit instead takes you to a second map representing an up-close view of that individual battle. It's like if every time you attacked in a Fire Emblem game, you got whisked away to a completely different map with worse map design, and then had to deal with that to return to the actual map, and then repeat that 2 or 3 more times to actually complete the mission. I complained about missions taking too long during the Super Robot Taisen Compact episode, and this definitely takes it to a whole other level. To make matters worse, Bandai's obsession with forcing you to sit through all battle animations means you'll see the same unimpressive battle animations for your unit's basic attacks dozens of times per battle. I understand there will always be the die-hard fans who want to see them all, but to not have any kind of setting to restrict full battle animations to special moves only seems crazy. With many of these mech-based strategy RPGs, it feels like they have a target length in mind and jump through whatever mechanical gymnastics they need to reach that number. I certainly can't speak to what hardcore Gundam fans want out of their games, but as a casual SRPG fan, I can't help but think that we'd be better served by having a tight, well-paced 25-hour game rather than an artificially padded out 70-hour one that moves at a glacial pace. I think it's pretty safe to say that if you're in the target audience for this game, you've probably played it already, and there's little reason for anyone else to check it out. One other SD Gundam game was released for the WonderSwan in 1999, and it's a far more interesting one, but unfortunately, you'll have to wait until episode 69 to hear about that one.